Okay, here we go. Unit 6, Lesson 5, Squares and Circles. Let's see how the distributive property can relate to equations of circles. So the distributive property, basically this 5 gets distributed to both the x and the 3. I believe they're called addends. But anyway, distribute each expression. Forget mentally, let's just do them. Okay, so the 5 times the x is 5x plus, because there's a plus sign right here, 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, x times x is x squared. And then you got to go minus, because there's a minus sign. And then 3 times x is 3x. Now this is, let's talk about this. This is the FOIL method, this one right here. So the F stands for the first. The O is the outsides. The I is the insides. And the L stands for last. So if you can remember FOIL, that's how I learned it. So let's look at the firsts. So that's the first two, right? So the first here and the first here. So that's the first. So x times x is x squared. Now we're going to do the outsides. That's going to be x and the 2. And since there's a plus, you go plus 2 times x. That's the outsides. Now let's go to the insides. Here's the insides. Also a plus 4x. And then lastly are, coincidentally, the last terms. And since there's plus signs everywhere, we're going to get into minus signs on this one, but plus 8. Now that's going to simplify to x squared plus 6x plus 8, because you add up the 2x plus 4x. Okay, so this is fully simplified. All right, let's do this one. Same deal, first one's x squared. Now, since there's a minus and a positive, because that's a positive x right there, so we're going to do the outsides. It's going to be minus 5x. See the x and the 5. Now let's go insides. These two are the insides. That's a minus 5 times a positive x. That's another minus 5x. And then lastly, you've got a negative 5 times a negative 5. You could envision this as x plus negative 5, x plus negative 5. So the lasts are negative times a negative. So that's going to be plus 25. So this is going to simplify it too, because these two can be combined. So you're going to say x squared minus 10x plus 25. Now I know it's coming. This right here is known as a perfect square trinomial. This is an example of a perfect square trinomial. Now, in layman's terms, it means if you divide this by 2, so negative 5x, and then you take the negative 5 times the negative 5, that'll equal 25. Now, the rule is b squared equals 4ac. So in a trinomial, 3 terms, right? Trinomial. A polynomial is just multiple terms. A trinomial is 3 terms. So in this one, let's see, b squared would be negative 10 squared. Does it equal 4 times 1? A is right here in front of the x. Times 25. Let's see, negative 10 squared is 100. 4 times 1 is 4, times 25 is 100, so it checks out. So if you ever want to know if something is a perfect square trinomial, this is how you know. B squared equals 4ac. Now, you might wonder what's b, what's a, and what's c. So it's in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Anyways, perfect square trinomial. Good thing to know. Okay, let's go to 5.2, perfectly square. I'm gonna switch pens because this one's bleeding through. Happens to be a metal band from the high school days. Okay, apply the distributive property to each expression. All right, no worries. So this one's gonna be the FOIL method. So hopefully you can remember firsts. So x times x is x squared. Outsides, x times negative 7 is negative 7x. I for insides, negative 7 times x is another negative 7x. And then lasts, negative 7 times negative 7 is plus 49. So you're going to end up getting x squared minus 14x plus 49. That one's done. All right, let's do b. Now this one, because you have a x plus 4 squared, I actually prefer just rewriting it like this. X plus 4 times x plus 4, and then apply FOIL. So firsts is x squared. Outsides, x and 4 is 4x. Insides, another 4x. And the last plus 16. So that'll simplify to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Notice half of 8 is 4, 4 squared is 16. Half of 14, negative 14 is negative 7, negative 7 squared is 49. All right, B is done. C, let's do the same thing. X minus 10 times x minus 10. If you have a whole parentheses squared, you have to do them like parenthesis and parenthesis. Okay, so first, FOIL, x squared. Outsides, x and negative 10, that's negative 10x. Insides, negative 10x. And last, plus 100. So that's going to simplify to x squared minus 20x plus 100. Now look at this. Half of 20 is, or half of negative 20 is negative 10. Negative 10 squared is 100. These are all perfect square trinomials. All right, x plus 1, x plus 1, right? Because you have that 2 right there. So first, x squared. Outsides, x and 1, that's plus 1x. Insides, plus 1x. And lasts, plus 1. That's going to simplify to x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now, half of 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So all 4 of these are called perfect square trinomials. And again, if you really want to test it in any trinomial, does b squared equal 4ac? All right, look at your results. Each of these expressions is called a perfect square trinomial. Why? Because they are all trinomials, so 3 terms. Now notice this one has the power of 2, this is the power of 1, and this is to the power of 0, really. So, so 3 distinct, like different exponential terms. So they are all trinomials, and in all cases, b squared equals 4ac. Which of these expressions are perfect square trinomials? If you get stuck, look for patterns in your earlier work. Okay. So let's see. Let's just first of all work on the formula here. So there's b, -6. A is 1. C is 9. So does -6 squared equal 4 times 1 times 9? -6 squared is 36. 4 times 1 is 4. Yep, this one is good. That's a perfect square trinomial. Now let's look at this one. Let me just write this. A equals 1, right? Because there's nothing in front of the x. B equals 10. And C equals 20. These are all trinomials. Let's just see, does b squared equal 4ac? Let's find out. Does 10 squared equal 4 times 1 times 20? So does 100 equal 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 20 is 80? No, this is not a perfect square trinomial. All right, let's try this one. So A equals 1, B equals 18, C equals 81. So does b squared equal 4ac? That's what we're asking ourselves. So does 18 squared equal 4 times 1 times 81? Yes, 18 squared is 324. 4 times 81 is 324. This one's good. Now, x squared minus 2x plus 1, let's see. A equals 1, B equals -2, C equals 1. So does b squared equal 4ac? So -2 squared equal 4 times 1 times 1. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 1 is 4, times 1 is 4. Yep, that one's good. So A, C, D so far. This one, A equals 1, B equals 4, C equals 16. So does b squared equal 4ac? Let's find out. 4 squared, does it equal 4 times 1 times 16? 4 squared is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. This is not a perfect square trinomial. So the big one is b squared equals 4ac. If you check that box, then it's a perfect square trinomial. Rewrite the perfect square trinomials you identified as squared binomials. Okay, so that means A, C, and D. So let's rewrite A. So that's x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, so now because of our work here, we know that b squared equaled 4ac. So let's figure it out. Now is where you divide this one by 2. So you get x minus 3, and then just throw the 2 up there. So easy. All right, C is x squared plus 18x plus 81. So this one's easy. Divide this by 2. Watch this. X plus 9 squared. There you go. That's a squared binomial right here and right here. Now let's look at D. X squared minus 2x plus 1. Divide this one by 2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. So just go x minus 1 squared. How easy is that? So easy. But remember, this is your starting point. And once you get there, to rewrite them as squared binomials, just divide the middle coefficient by 2. And then you'll have your answers. So easy. Okay, 5.3 back and forth. Here is the equation of a circle. All right. X minus 2 squared plus y plus 7 squared equals 10 squared. What are the center and radius of the circle? So the center, they call it HK. I guess somebody liked Hello Kitty back in the day. But anyways, HK is the center. Now, what does that mean? H means what is the number that would zero this out? And for that one, your center is going to be, you're going to have an X and a Y, right? So your X is whatever zeroes this out, which is a 2. And your Y is going to be whatever zeroes this out, which is negative 7. So your center is 2, negative 7. Okay? Now, this is also known as r squared. So r is simply 10. So radius equals 10. All right. Okay, apply the distributive property to the squared binomials and rearrange the equation so that one side is 0. Okay, let's just do that first. So apply the distributive property. These are squared binomials. Squared binomials, 2 squared. So squared to the power of 2. Binomial, 2 terms. Right? And 2 terms with different exponents for the x. This is an exponent of 1. This is technically an exponent of 0. All right, squared binomials rearrange the equation. So x minus 2 squared. So you got to go like this. X minus 2 times x minus 2. And then over here, you got, don't forget there's a plus right here. Y plus 7, y plus 7, right? And then 10 squared is 100. All right. So we're going to just distribute these. And now you got the FOIL method, right? FOIL. First, x squared. Outsides, minus 2x. Insides, minus 2x. Last, plus 4. It's going to simplify to x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, here we go. First, y squared. Outsides, 7y. Insides, 7y. Last, 49. That's going to simplify, don't forget this plus, to y squared plus 14y plus 49. And then we got 100 here. All right, let's combine terms. So you're going to have x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 49 is plus 53 plus y squared plus 14y. And then let's subtract 100 to both sides. So minus 100, and then this is going to be 0. Okay? Now we can combine these two terms. So positive 53 minus 100 is going to be negative 47, right? So you're eventually going to get x squared minus 4x plus y squared plus 14y minus 47 equals 0. Whew. Tough, tough, tough. That's a tough problem. This is the form in which many circle equations are written. So sometimes they'll give you this, and they'll be like, find the center and radius of the circle. And you're just like, okay. Anyway, math is fun, right? Little puzzles everywhere. Okay, 2, this equation looks different but also represents a circle. X squared plus 6x plus 9 plus y squared minus 10y plus 25 equals 64. How can you rewrite this equation to find the center and radius of the circle? Now this is an easy one. If they gave you this, I'd be like, oh, that's tough. But here we go. Let's break this down, and then let's break this down. And then let's also finally break this down. So 3 things to break down. So remember, you're looking for squared binomials from a trinomial. So you want a squared binomial from a trinomial. This is a trinomial. We're trying to get it in like this form right here, into a squared binomial. So remember, divide this by 2. So you're going to have x plus 3 squared, right? Pretty easy. Divide this by 2. Y minus 5 squared. Hey, that ends up checking out. And then what is 64? What's the square root of 64? Equals 8 squared. Now it's in the form that you can find the center and the radius. Center is going to be -3, 5. So center, -3, 5. Radius, 8. And those are your answers to this one. Now, one last plug for the homework. If you don't do these practice problems, you're left with 1 question on the concept. You need to do like 15 on the concept in order to like have this stuff click. All you have to do are 7. You just have to do 7 problems. You should have seen back in the day in my math classroom. I had to do like 20 or 30 every single lesson. So if you're not doing this, if you're not doing the practice problems, you might as well stay home. Because it's in one ear and out the other. If you don't do the practice problems, all this stuff is just in one ear and out the other. I challenge you to do the practice problems every single lesson. And if you don't, you won't learn. It's the bottom line. Like, you will not learn. You'll understand a little bit in class, but this is where it all comes together, is when you actually do the homework. All right. See you.